Hey, what's up? How's it going? My name is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be starting another reading vlog for reading 3 new release thrillers. And these are 3 thrillers that I am very excited about and have very high hopes for. The first one that I want to read for this video is When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, mainly because I just bought this book last month from Barnes & Noble, and I actually got the audiobook downloaded from this from Libro, so I'm going to be listening to the audiobook and reading this book physically. All I know about this book is that it's compared to Get Out, which very much intrigues me. I do know that this author is black and the main female character in this book is black as well, and then it follows her and then this white guy in her neighborhood in Brooklyn. And I think some like weird shit is happening in their neighborhood and they're trying to get to the bottom of it, and it's a thriller. So I mean, we'll see. Like, this author has only ever written romance previously. I actually found this book in the romance section of Barnes & Noble. So I mean, we'll see if it ends up being my thing, but I'm very excited about it, and the fact that it's compared to Get Out is just what intrigues me about this the most. And then another book that I want to read for this is One by One by Ruth Ware. After the Turn of the Key was my favorite thriller of 2019, I am just so beyond stoked to get into One by One by Ruth Ware, and this is definitely one of my most highest anticipated thrillers of the year, so I'm hoping it's great. All I know about it is that it takes place in like the mountains, in like the snowy mountain hills, and it follows this group of people who goes there. It's like an Agatha Christie kind of thing where they're all getting picked off one by one. See what I did there? Yeah, that's pretty much all I know about it, is that it's like a murder mystery. It sounds like it'll be something that's right up my alley, so I hope I enjoy this one. And then the last third book that I'm going to be reading for this video is The Nothing Man. And this one is one that I'm especially intrigued by because it kind of involves like a true crime feel to it, which I really like, and it's about a serial killer. And basically what's happening in this book is that we're following this woman who was once a girl who survived the Nothing Man. Like, the Nothing Man came and murdered her whole family. He murdered like her sister and her parents, and now decades and decades later she's an adult and she's writing a book called The Nothing Man about her experiences with it. And then I guess in alternate chapters we get the point of view of the Nothing Man himself, the serial killer, who's reading the book and finding out about the book, and like, it just sounds like it's gonna be so cool. So I'm very excited about that one, and I might just go ahead and download the ebook for this one because I'm too excited and I want to get to it first. I'm very excited about all 3 of these books, and I'm planning on starting later tonight with my reading, so let's hope this is another successful round of reading 3 thrillers. What's up? It's my first day jumping into this vlog, and I'm so excited about it because after reading all of those you know, really sad and contemporary soft books in a row, I am definitely ready to jump back into some thrillers, you know, get my blood pumping. And I kind of just jumped the gun and I ended up downloading the ebook for The Nothing Man. This one in particular sounds really interesting to me because it kind of has like a true crime vibe to it, and it's also like a story within a story, which is something that I usually love reading about in books. And my friend Matt actually told me that he thinks that I'm gonna enjoy this book the most out of all of them. So that makes me super intrigued, and this is an author that I haven't read before, and I haven't really seen too many people talking about this book, so I'm very excited about it. Tonight the plan is I'm just going to lay in bed and put on a face mask and read this book on my phone and just curl up and just have a great time. So it is the next morning, and last night I was able to get exactly 50% of the way through the ebook, and I am now on page 180 out of like 364 pages, and so far I have mixed feelings about it because I was reading for a really long time last night and I kind of expected to get more further into the book than I did, but I feel like this book is kind of difficult to get into and like keep you interested. Definitely interested in this book though because it is very like true crime vibes, because I like that we're getting the true crime story in the actual book within the book, you know, but then we also get Jim's point of view, who like is the Nothing Man, you know, and like I don't know, I kind of find his point of view to be kind of slow and like not very interesting. And then also some of the true crime parts in the book feel like they're so over explained. Like I just find myself like skimming to get to the interesting parts because this author has to tell you like the entire history of this house and like the entire history of this family and when they got married and like how they grew up, and it's just like I don't really care about all that, to be honest. So I don't know, it's kind of a slow start, but I am still enjoying it. Like this book does have a really good vibe to it. It is actually really creepy. Like some of the stuff that the Nothing Man has done is just really eerie and weird and creepy, and it's giving me like, oof. So I do like it. I do want to finish it. I want to see where it's going. I just wish it was written in a way that was like quicker for me to get through, because I just feel like it's very dense. Because, you know, as I said, this book is about this girl who survived this dude coming into her home and murdering her whole family. Like she was hiding in the bathroom and he came into the house and he murdered her younger sister and her parents, and she somehow survived this. And it's interesting because in her book that she's writing called The Nothing Man, so she's not only writing about what happened to her family in her book The Nothing Man, she's also writing about the 5 families previously to them. And so she's also writing the stories of each one of them in the book. So it's kind of like we get all these interesting, disturbing, true crime stories within that one book. Anyways, this morning I'm planning on going down to Barnes & Noble real quick because I want to see if they have One by One by Ruth Ware. And if they don't have it, then I'm probably just going to end up either ordering it offline somewhere or just downloading the ebook and just caving again. But I would really like to own that one physically, so hopefully they do have it at Barnes & Noble now that it's actually out. I can't wait to read this! Very smoky today in Washington. Hello, it has been a full 24 hours since I've last updated you on things, but today is really weird out. It's a Saturday and it's really smoky outside here in Washington at the moment because of all the fires going on, and it literally looks like it's cloudy outside today, but I know it's just smoke because it just smells really strongly. But I just wanted to update you that I just finished reading The Nothing Man on my phone. I read a little more of it last night before I went to bed, and then I had about 100 pages left, so I read them this morning. I really ended up enjoying this book. I know I was complaining a little bit in my last clip talking about this book because I did find the beginning of this book to be unnecessarily slow and just kind of over the top with the descriptions. It was just kind of like dragging, you know? But those last 100 pages of this book or so were so intense and so like full of like intense moments and twists, and just it was really good. And I really love the idea of like a serial killer reading about his own story kind of and trying to like tell the reader like, no, this isn't what really happened, and like I don't know, it was just really interesting and really unique. I've never read a book quite like this, and I really loved the book within a book aspect of this. I just thought it was a really clever way of storytelling, and I don't know, I ended up really enjoying this one. I was very surprised, and yeah, this is one I'm probably gonna end up giving this one like 4 out of 5 stars, and I just can't give it more than 4 stars because I found the beginning to be so slow. Like honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that I was reading this book for a video, I might have even considered DNFing it or something, because it was just really slow and it was like hard for me to like keep my interest in the story. But every now and then it would just give you something that I would be like, okay, this is really interesting and I need to keep reading it. But it is very slow in the beginning, so if you do decide to pick this book up, just know that it is very slow in the beginning. But this book definitely picks up on the momentum, and wow, that ending was definitely worth it in my opinion. I thought it was great.
So he could relive, yeah, I wanted to relish in it, right, and it was so creepy. Yeah, I agree how you kept saying, like.
So I'm finally back at home from a somewhat busy day at work. It actually wasn't too busy tonight, which was nice. and I am just about to start When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. And as much as I would love to jump into one by one, I kind of want to save this one for the last one just because this is probably my most anticipated book out of the three of these, so I just want to save it for last. And also because I have the audiobook for this on Libro, so I was kind of thinking like I'm a little bit too tired right now to try and like read with my eyeballs, so I figured I would just listen to the audiobook on Libro while I kind of like skim the book with my eyes, and I would just read it that way. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's about 11 o'clock at night right now, and I do work tomorrow morning, so I'm not trying to stay up too late, so I might listen to the audiobook for an hour, maybe 2 hours at the most, and then yeah, I will let you know my thoughts tomorrow morning. You know what's really exciting though is right now my sister is reading Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, aka one of my favorite books of all time. And she just started reading it this afternoon and she's already 270 pages into it, which is like rare for her. Like I can tell she's really loving it and it just makes me so happy. Anytime I can get my sister to read one of my favorite books, I'm like, Hi, good morning. It is the next morning and last night I got 182 pages into When No One Is Watching, which puts me like a little bit more than halfway through it. I was just listening to the audiobook like all night last night, and so far it's fine. I mean, nothing really like thrilling has happened yet, and to be honest, like the first 150 pages or so just kind of felt like a contemporary book or even like a romance in a way. So yeah, we're just following this girl, Sydney, who's this black girl living in this neighborhood, and then we're following one of her neighbors, Theo, who's this white dude that has this low-key racist girlfriend, and it's kind of talking about how their neighborhood is just kind of like racist, and how there's a lot of racist comments being made, and I don't even think the people know that they're being racist. And like so far there is a lot of social commentary that I think is very important, but also like nothing really thrilling has happened yet. There's just been some like weird, strange occurrences that are happening that are kind of like, these characters don't know if they're like imagining some things, like there's some like weird things going on. But besides that, like nothing really thrilling is happening yet. So I'm gonna be listening to the audiobook today when I'm on the way to work, and a little bit while I'm at work just in the morning, like getting things ready. I couldn't find my AirPods this morning. Like I was listening to them last night when I was in bed, and then I took them out, put them in my case, and had them in bed, and now I can't find them, so I'm gonna have to find them when I get home. But for now, I'm just bringing my Beats, and yeah, I'm just gonna listen to this at work, and hopefully things start to pick up. It is Sunday afternoon and I just got home from work, and I've been listening to the audiobook for this book like almost all morning, and I only have 40 minutes left of it on the audiobook, and I think I have about like 80-ish pages left of the book. I don't know, like I'm not loving it, so that kind of sucks. I do feel like this book might have been mismarketed because I do feel like this book feels more like a contemporary with a lot of romance and some thrills, but a lot of like social commentary that is very terrifying and real. So I guess that's where like the thriller aspect really comes into this book. But for the most part, like I feel like 75% of this book has been a contemporary romance feel to it, and now it feels like we're just starting to get into like the thriller aspects of the book. So like yeah, not loving it. Also, I don't think I've ever read this erotic of a sex scene in a thriller before, so I think that kind of tells me right there that this book should be marketed more as a romance, because the sex scene is written in such an erotic way that I just usually don't experience in thrillers. So like, I don't know. I do know though that this author has written many romances in the past, and that this is her first thriller. So I mean, it makes sense when you think of it like that, but the fact that they're trying to market this book as a thriller, because on this front page right here, it just says a thriller on the front cover. So it's like this book is marketing itself as a thriller, and so far I feel like it's mismarketed and it's not really a thriller. But yeah, I mean, who knows, maybe these last 80 pages will prove me wrong and make me think different. But so far, this is okay. I don't think I'd necessarily recommend this to fans of thrillers. Maybe I would recommend this to people that do read a lot of romance and are looking to get into thrillers. Like, maybe this would be a good place to start. But I would definitely say this one is more of a romantic thriller kind of vibe, or like an erotic thriller, but mostly contemporary feel with a little bit of romance and a little bit of thrills. So she's reading Lock Every Door by Riley Sager right now. And you love it, or what?
I do.
Yeah. Yesterday she read so much.
272.
270 pages in one day. Created a monster.
That's nothing.
So far, do you like this one more than Home Before Dark, or like the same so far?
I guess the same so far. I guess,
Okay.
I don't know. It's hard to say because I think Home Before Dark I was a little more intrigued because it felt more like paranormal. This story is, I think, a little more interesting though. I can't explain it. I like them both a lot. I think right now I like them the same.
Damn. Great vibes. Hank, what the fuck? Excuse me, sir. What are you doing?
Hank.
Hank, no digging. He can't bite his own boss. Buddy.
Psycho right now.
Mm.
Look at those crazy eyes.
Yeah. So I just finished reading When No One Is Watching, and I've got to say, the ending did surprise me quite a bit, and I definitely think the last 50 pages of this book are the strongest part of this book. And I do think the ending was like really interesting and kind of like unexpected, so this definitely did surprise me at the end. But I would still say that this book just doesn't really feel like a thriller to me, at least until those like last 50 pages where it really starts to step it up. But I don't know, I feel like this one's gonna be a 3-star book for me. Like, I just didn't love it the way that I wanted to and kind of expected to, but I could also see the value in this book because I do think this book has some really important social commentary, especially on how Black people are treated unfairly in like their neighborhoods, and how the government actively tries to make it more difficult for Black people to own property. And there's just a lot of different social commentary like that I think is super important in this book and super relevant. Also, the ending was just very well done and really creepy and eerie, but also like it only adds to the creepiness because it just feels so real, and like this is something that could happen, so it was just really sick and terrifying. But besides the ending of this book, it did mostly read like a contemporary. And so like, yeah, I think this was a 3-star book for me. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. Got that cozy cabin rain ambiance while I read in bed. Seriously, I love these ambiance videos. They just make me so happy. Oh, that's really zoomed in. We need to zoom out. Alright, well, it is much later in the night now. It's about like 11:30 at night right now, and I am just laying in bed and I'm about to jump into One by One. I was going to start this afternoon, but I only got 30 pages into the book before my sister finished reading Lock Every Door, and so then we just kind of like fangirled over Lock Every Door together for a while, and she really enjoyed Lock Every Door, and so far she said she doesn't know if she prefers Lock Every Door or Home Before Dark, but I'm really glad that she ended up enjoying it as much as she did. It makes me happy. And yeah, so far I'm only 30 pages in, but I'm already super intrigued by this. It kind of gives me like a similar vibe to like The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. That's like the immediate vibe I get from this, because it takes place in like, you know, the snowy Alps kind of thing, and it's following like a whole bunch of different people. It said right at the start of it like a bunch of these people get murdered or something. Or I don't know if it's that they got murdered or if it was just like an accident. The book opens with this news article looking thing, and it says that this tragedy strikes days after an avalanche killed 6 and left much of the region without power for days. They said a house of horror situation was unfolding, leaving 4 Britons dead and 2 hospitalized. So that makes me question, like, were they murdered? Is that why it's saying like House of Horrors? Like, I don't really know. but so far I'm really interested. I've heard this book compared a lot to like Agatha Christie vibes, and I've personally never read Agatha Christie, so maybe that'll work in my favor because I'll be more surprised by this. I don't know. So yeah, I'm just gonna read a little bit of it tonight. I don't want to stay up too late tonight, and then I have tomorrow off, so I'm planning on dedicating a lot of tomorrow to reading this book. It is actually the next night. It's like 6:30-ish or 7 o'clock at night right now. Oh, look at that. It's exactly 7 o'clock at night, and the sun is starting to go down. It's actually starting to go down so early now. And it's kind of chilly out today, so it felt appropriate to have a beanie on. But last night, I didn't really end up reading at all. I read like maybe 10 or 20 pages of this, and I just got so bored. And so I was just on my phone instead pretty much all of last night. I just didn't really want to read. And this morning I finally made some of a dent in this book, and I'm on page 120 right now. But I've got to say, so far I'm not like obsessed with it. I don't know, like so far those first 100 pages were so slow, and I just didn't really care about any of the characters, and there was nothing interesting happening. But now, since page 100, like in these last 20 pages I've read, there's something interesting happening. Like one of the guests has gone missing, and okay, I just wanted to make sure in the description it does mention this, but this description does mention that an avalanche happens, and so that has finally happened. Like I swear in the first 100 pages like literally nothing was happening in this book. But one thing that I don't like about the book so far is that it's so much about their company that it's kind of about them talking about like their shares and their numbers and their like, you know, whether or not they're gonna sell it, and like just talking about boring app stuff that I just don't care about. So I feel like so far it's been kind of slow just for that reason alone, but like it's starting to pick up, it's starting to get interesting, so I'm not losing total hope yet. But honestly, if I wasn't reading this for this video, or if it wasn't by Ruth Ware, one of my faves, I might have DNF'd this book. And I feel like I've said that about all 3 of these books for this video, so yikes. But seriously, like if this book wasn't by Ruth Ware, I probably would have DNF'd it by now and just like lost interest. But I just really loved The Turn of the Key. It's like one of my all-time favorite thrillers, so I really do want to give this one a fair shot. And we'll see, you know, because Ruth Ware is really hit or miss for me, because The Turn of the Key is the only one that I've been obsessed with ever from her. And then I've also read The Woman in Cabin 10 and In a Dark Dark Wood, and those were both not that great for me. So this one will be the true test to see. If I have to read one more word about this company's shares, I'm gonna throw this book across the room! No offense, but I literally don't care about like the company's shares and like who has the most shares and who's gonna get the most profit from this company. Like it's so boring. It's so freaking boring. And I think I know who the killer is. I feel like it's pretty obvious. So I'm now like 250 pages into it, and I'm still losing my mind with boredom. I'm just starting to skim at this point because I'm like, let's just get to it. Let's just get to the point. This book is just, oh my god. It's driving me nuts. Like I honestly just want to DNF it so bad, but I just kind of want to like see how it ends just so I can validate the fact that I really don't like this. I just finished One by One, and I'm kind of tempted to give this a 1 star because I didn't like it. I kind of hated it. Not only did I accurately predict the killer, and I feel like it's so freaking obvious nearly from the first page. I just thought like it's so obvious, like Thriller 101, obvious twist. And not only that, but like the ending was just cheesy as fuck, and like it was so drawn out. The beginning is incredibly boring. The first 100 pages, like literally nothing happens. The story starts to pick up some momentum around page like 120 or so, and then it's good until about page 200, and then I just feel like it starts to drag again. Like, is this written by the same author who wrote The Turn of the Key? Because it doesn't feel like it. This was just so freaking boring, and the ending was so ridiculously cheesy. And then after all of the drama unfolds, there's like a random 20 to 30 pages at the end that just aren't even necessary for the story. Like, what's going on? Like, is this a thriller or is this like a Lifetime drama? I don't know. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so cheesy. It was like, it was not what I was wanting at all from this book. I was so disappointed because I legit thought in my brain, I thought this was gonna be my favorite book that I read for this video, but in a wild turn of events, this is one of the worst thrillers that I've read this year. It might be the worst thriller that I've read this year. I just really didn't like it. It reminded me so much too of The Hunting Party by Lucy Foley. It had a very similar vibe to that, but almost like worse, because at least that book was like slightly surprising and interesting. This, oh my god, it had nothing going for it. Like, not only did I not give a fuck about any of these characters, but also their tech company was like the main primal focus of this book. And like, I don't care about their tech company numbers and their shares and their stocks and their whatever, like I don't freaking care about that. And I just skimmed the last like 150 pages or so because I was like, is this ever gonna get better? And it didn't. I can't really think of anything redeeming about it though for me to want to like bump it up to a 2-star, but I rarely give out 1-stars anymore, I feel like. But this, like, I don't know, I feel like this kind of deserves it. It just, It has been an entire 24 hours since I have completed all of these books. And yeah, this reading vlog definitely was not what I expected. I really thought I would genuinely love One by One, and I thought without a doubt in my mind that this would be my favorite book that I read for this video. But you know what? My friend Matt was actually right. The Nothing Man did end up being my favorite book that I read this week. Which sucks because this is the only one of these 3 books that I don't own physically, because I downloaded it as an ebook instead because I thought I wasn't gonna like it as much. But yeah, The Nothing Man, it was a great time. It was a 4-star book. It had some slow moments for sure, but it was by far the most interesting thing that I read this week. And then we have these 2 books, which, you know, this one, there was nothing really like wrong with this book necessarily. It just didn't really feel a whole lot like a thriller to me, at least not the thrillers that I'm used to reading, I guess. This one definitely felt more of a contemporary kind of romance story to me. And then One by One, like, what a freaking disaster. Oh my god, I can't believe I disliked this book so much. Like, is this the same author who wrote The Turn of the Key? Like, I don't know Ruth Ware anymore. Oh my gosh, can you hear the sound of the rain in the background? Because it's lovely. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up another 3 thriller video. I really do love doing these videos though, because there's just something so much fun about reading 3 new release thriller books like back to back to back. But you know, after reading something that was as shitty and terrible as One by One, I need a palate cleanse in between my next reads, so I'm definitely going to be reading The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager soon. This one's actually going to be a reread for me because I did read this one when it first came out, but I am rereading this one because I'm going to be talking about it over on my friend Allie's channel. I'll link her channel down below, but I'm going to be on her live show with a bunch of other booktubers talking about this book on September 27th. So I'm going to be rereading this book in preparation for that live show because I think it's going to be a really fun time. And I'm really curious to see if my thoughts are any different or mostly the same since the last time that I read this book. I'm just so curious because a lot of people that I really trust tell me that this is their favorite Riley Sager book, and looking back on it, I'm like, I just don't remember a lot of like the details of this book, so I'm kind of curious to see if my love for this book really grows the second time, because I'm pretty sure the first time around I gave it 4 stars and like I really enjoyed it, but like I never considered this one an all-time favorite. But like, who knows, my tastes have changed a little bit over the years, so like I'm really curious. But yeah, that is all for this video. So if you've read any of these 3 books, then please let me know what your thoughts are. Especially if you really enjoyed One by One, then let me know like what you enjoyed about it. And also let me know what 3 books you would like to see me do for a future video in another reading 3 thrillers video. Because something like that might be happening soon, because I'm just in a thriller mood always. And now that we're actually getting into the fall season, it's just like, yes. But that'll be it for this video, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with another video. Bye.